Okie dokie. So, welcome to yet another iteration of our hiking adventures. Today we're at this place called Alderman Ford Nature Preserve. It's a 2.5 mile hike. I've never been here before, although I've kayaked by it. Scheduled to rain if you look up in the sky. Hopefully we'll beat it. 1 o'clock we're supposed to get a tropical downpour. So we'll just have to see. Check on the truck. Which, by the way, I'm going to go off in a little rant. This is a perfect example of waste of taxpayer money. This is ADA compliant hiking trail. Now, for sake of argument, I got absolutely nothing against ADA compliance. I have people who are handicapped in my family, so I fully support. But this is just ridiculous, right? This is the parking lot. Okay? In here, they had to spend thousands of dollars on pouring concrete and building all of this over there so that the person presumably in a wheelchair, to do what exactly? This is the second such place. The first one is at Bomboyet. Like this up here probably cost about $10,000 to build. In any event. In case you're following the updates, I got my sleeves for my knee brace. Hopefully it will prevent some of the rubbing. So, this trail, you could either go this way, which is out in the open, or you could go this way first, which is through the trees. So, I figure I will still have daylight. By the way, this is like 9 o'clock in the morning. It's supposed to get darker by the minute. So this trail apparently heads to the water at first, and then we double back a little bit and follow the river, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm guessing this would be the place where it double backs so that you could then continue with the trail. But we're gonna go hit the river first. Yep, red blazing trail, yellow. That's assuming they marked it correctly, which wouldn't surprise me not one bit if they haven't. Because let's be honest, we've been down this road before. Check my microphone. Good. Look at this. Now, in case you're wondering, no, this is not natural. This is a part of a reclamation project managed by the state. Wild Florida doesn't have this. So just like I've mentioned prior, the history of Alderman Ford dates back to the early days of colonization and everything, where the river was crossed, and hence the name Alderman Ford. Alderman family was running cattle through here, and eventually, when phosphate was discovered in the state of Florida, there were a lot of people trying to mine for it, especially in the river, sort of like they do gold mining type thing. And so a lot of this is remnant mining from before, and then it was kind of picked up by the state and fixed to the best of their ability. Now, in case you're wondering how quickly nature recovers, literally on the other side of those trees over there, there's people that live there. You could hear a garbage truck picking up garbage. So this is just, you don't have to go far. You know, you could do this in your own backyard, really. Doesn't matter if you're in Florida or some other place. So all around me, like this over here, minus the beer bottle, this is palmetto palms. This is very typical for scrub type habitat here in Florida. And palmetto palm grows very, very thick. Covers just about everything if given the choice. And it's also intermixed with sable palms. So like that over there, whoops, that over there is the sable palm that's grown. The leaves look somewhat similar. I would say the biggest difference is that sable palm, see how it's all what are the correct words to describe this? It's all pointing sort of like outward like this, right? And then starts twisting and turning. The palmetto palm doesn't really do that because a lot of the growth is strictly up. And I don't think I've ever seen them being higher than 10 feet, whereas the other kind of palm is trying to reach for the sky. There's a perfect example. Like, see the difference? This is the palmetto. All right. Ooh, look at that. Off in the back, there's a big cypress tree, and so is this. If you notice, everything is wet out here. And that's because not even last week, all of this was actually underwater. Alafaya floods all of this, and you could just feel the moisture. You could feel the, like everything is just percolated with water. And when Alafaya begins to flood, it brings nutrients and sedimentation to all of this area, which gives proper nutrients to everything that needs to grow. And because it doesn't flood in perpetuity, like in other words, it floods but then recedes, like you see over there, this naturally upland vegetation has the opportunity to effectively continue living and not die. Now this is interesting over here. If you look where the river is, never mind the flip-flops, the current is actually quite swift, but this pales in comparison to the raging torrent that Alafaya turns into during rainy season. So, but what I wanted to show you guys is this over here. This is limestone. Right there. See this? This is the karst topography here in Florida. And naturally what happens is the acidity from the rain washes away pockets inside of it, forming caves and channels for underwater rivers and stuff. And this is just to get you an idea, we are at elevation, I'm guessing maybe 130-ish, right? This is right underneath the feet. So just to get you an idea of how shallow the bottom is with respect to, not like actual bottom, but where the bedrock is. Oh, well, that's interesting. In the hiking map that was provided, there were options to follow the river, and then there were options to do the hiking trail. So let's, before I go any further, just want to double check that I'm not gonna wear off the path or anything. Let's see what, oh, it says elevation gain 219. Yes, technically, if you follow this river, maybe that's what I should do. I should follow the river, I don't know if camera is picking this up, to the point of convergence, and then pick up the other trail, instead of just taking the field, because that way there's at least a little bit more to look at. I used to paddle Alafaya a lot, actually, and if this was the right time of day, you'd see a lot of kayakers. Oh, speaking of which, we had a bit of a adventure here at the Alafaya. There were all sorts of rescue teams, and right about here, actually, the family with, I'm guessing, 2 children and a father overturned in their canoe, and you could see how swift the current is. So more than likely their canoe sank, and their mother couldn't come back, probably because of the current. And so they had all sorts of rescue searches out here, canines, helicopters, I mean, you name it, they had it. Eventually they found them after hours and hours of searching. But that would be kind of scary. Imagine being out here at night, right? It would be pretty terrifying, especially if you're a kid. Is this an invitation to hop over it, or is this an invitation of don't be walking beyond? Let's see if I could even do this. Straddle the horse. Alright, so just a moment of safety. If you are hiking this trail, or any trail in Florida close to water, be mindful. Be mindful of the fact that, man, it's almost like they deliberately don't want you to go there. Be mindful of the fact that alligators are not necessarily there. They're to the right of you, right there. That's where you have to be somewhat vigilant of it. Have to, like, this is a perfect example where alligator was camping out. Could see squished grass and everything. Oh, look at that. More than likely this is where, oh, that's where that tree swing is. This is where kids camp out, do all sorts of unmentionables, as you could see, pollute, bastards. That's where the rope swing is, just to get you an idea. I mean, look at this, look at this. It just, like, you have to be a certain level of a pathetic swine to come out and enjoy places like this, right? And then leave your garbage here. I mean, you have to come back here to enjoy it, right? Look at this. It's the same people that keep coming here. Instead of just cleaning this shit up, pardon my language, this is just reprehensible. And you know, the funny thing is, you could come out here and clean this, and then the same exact garbage people turn this into garbage all over again the next week. This is their jam, as they say. This over here is actually not uncommon. There's all sorts of shoals. Depending on the stage of the flood, you could see water gurgling and stuff like that. That's where, right over there. See how current is picking up? I wonder if I could, trying to find the trail to get there. Look at all the garbage. Whoa, careful. All right, let's see, can we do this? Oh, pulley camera, come on. This would be easier, sorry about that. It would be easier if I didn't have a camera right behind me. So I'm trying not to get caught on things. There we go. All right. So if you watch some of my kayaking videos where I'm paddling against the current, this is the place. Look at that. You'd never picture this in Florida, right? There's the state park in somewhere in either North Florida or South Georgia that touts itself as the only Class 1 rapids. Apparently they've never been here before. Look at that. So as you might imagine, if you fall off your canoe over here, it would be bad news bears, because canoe sinks or gets carried off and you'll never catch it. Ever. Which is why if you ever want to hit the water, the best thing you could do is actually rent a kayak. A stable, sit on top, kayak. All right. Look at that. This is turning into a bit of a whimsical adventure, isn't it? The benefit to walking this trail is I'll be able to show you stuff like this over here. If we could get there in a minute. Alright, let's see. So this up here in the valley below, those are widow's knees. That's how cypress reproduces. See this? And then it grows. And then it grows, and then it grows, and then it grows, and turns into another cypress tree. This is a perfect example. Now, to get you an idea, the top of this over here, on the right, is probably 10 feet higher than the water's edge, right? Now, the river right now is in a receding flood stage, meaning that the flood happened and now it's actually receding. But when the water goes all the way up high, it goes probably to this elevation. So I've kayaked this place when it was in full flood stage. That's where I lost my GoPro. Almost overturned. It turned extremely ugly, extremely quick. And that sure taught me a lesson on how to respect nature even more. Nature doesn't joke about stuff like this. Alright, let's see if we could... Where's my camera? Alright guys, this is a special treat because I was not anticipating on doing any of this gymnastics. I was just hoping to have a smooth hiking trail. Hopefully the camera is... I'm guessing it is. I always wanted to hike the edge of Alafaya, just never got a chance to. It's kind of ironic that I've lived here for 13 years in this area, and this is literally the first time that I'm hiking it. Oh man. Damn it. Oh, another thing you need to watch out for are the spiders. Spiders are taking this opportunity. Oh, before I get any further, if you look across the other edge, that's where Alafaya used to flow. That's called an oxbow lake over there up front. So, and that's not just Alafaya, it's any river. They sometimes change channels. But yes, there's a lot of spiders that like to string their spider webs across trails like this. And don't be surprised to catch a lot of spider web, especially this early in the morning, and especially being the first person on the trail. All right. Now, with respect to the river itself, so most of the time, Alafaya is very smooth, kind of slow flowing river, especially in this area. And oh, look at that. How cool is this? Now, to an average human being, this would be no big deal. Just to do a hip and a cup, right? The problem is, I have 2 bad knees. And I don't have such luxury. Which is why... Alright, so I'm gonna step my bad foot over there. Take a giant step. Oh, there we go. Alright. Yes, this is a good example of why you bring hiking poles to help you along. So yes, most of the time this river, you could actually see limestone. You'd be scraping, like wintertime, when the water is low, you'd be scraping bottom of your kayak all the way for 6 miles. And then, you know, the rains come, this whole thing turns into a bit of an adventure. Now, this over here, if you've never canoed before, this is a lot more menacing than meets the eye. People severely underestimate. Like, here's a perfect example, right? In the open, no big deal, right? Okay, there's a current, no big deal. But then you come across places like this over here. Okay, and you attempt to overcorrect and You turn your canoe, you hit something, you overturn, you're done. Canoeing wasn't made for this sort of stuff. Especially considering that your average canoe is made of metal and sinks. So that family that lost their canoe out here somewhere more than likely climbed the bank like I am right now and just sat here in complete black with the forest sounds in the middle of the night. And I bet you the helicopter flying above and people shining lights and dogs barking were a very welcome sight to people caught in that predicament. And mind you, this isn't even like wilderness or anything. Be careful, don't slip. Last thing I want is end up in the water, because at that point I'll have to hike completely soaking wet, and I just don't want to do that. It's a little waterlog. I used to, back when I was kayaking this river in my old kayak, I used to pull driftwood out of here to use in my fish tanks. Okay, back to, I guess, some level of normalcy. We're recording? Yes, we are. Are we? Yes, we are. All right. Whoa, careful. This is such an interesting adventure, because I just intended to get to the river and then turn back. But this gives me a little bit more to the adventure. All right, look at that. Here you can see limestone again. And like I said, in low tide, you'd be scraping the bottom of your kayak all the way through. So before the Ice Age, all of this was actually ocean, which is why it's not uncommon when you start digging to find shark teeth and seashells. And if you come here after rain and like look at the banks, don't be surprised to get yourself a couple of white shark's teeth or something along those lines. Oh, see this? Good example of Florida. I don't know if camera is picking this up because I'm kind of far, but you have the topsoil, and right underneath of it, it's nothing but lime rock. Florida does have, I guess you could call them caves. There's a lot of cave diving out here. Really what that is, it's a lot. Sorry about that. Accidentally hit the tree there. Yes, Florida has caves, very popular with cave divers. I don't think there's, maybe with exception of Florida Cavern State Park in Marietta, or whatever it's called, over by Tallahassee, there's really nothing that you could access on feet, with exception of Devil's Den, where you could actually swim in Blue Grotto. Look at this. You know, it's amazing when you look at the tree, like if you didn't know this, like imagine, just erase this for a minute, okay, and just look up. You would never know that this is on the bottom. When the flood stage comes up, all you see is just a skinny tree. But see how massive it is on the bottom? And what happens is it latches on to bedrock and all the loose soil and everything to essentially hold on as much as it can. And over centuries turn into a magnificent giant cypress. Come on. That's kind of the downside of having a camera behind me, up above me, that when you have to crawl through places, see? Catches onto things. There's quite something, isn't it? Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Here we get to walk in the shadow of a giant between its future siblings. What a special treat. And look at that, even here where the water is, right, where it floods regularly, you could see how other type of vegetation still grows. I mean, look at this. You got sable palms, you got, by the way, here's a perfect example, since this is a good angle. If you look where my pole is, okay, right there, palmetto palm doesn't grow up. This up here right next to it is sable palm. It grows up. Palmetto palm actually is that right behind it where my pole is. And that's how palmetto palm grows. You could see the difference in leaves. Palmetto palms are like little daggers, right? Whereas this is really broad, really big, right? Sable palm, palmetto palm. And palmetto palm generally has like a one area where it begins to grow from, and then it branches out, drops more seeds and everything, and then continues walking essentially across the land to take over. If you give it enough space, it will literally just keep walking and walking. I've seen giant fields of palmetto palm, like acres and acres, and I'm talking about like hundreds of acres. Okay, the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Up, let's go. All right. Ew. Now this river to the left of me, I would say it is probably, oh, look at that. There's another rope swing. It's probably another, I would guess, 10-15 feet in the deepest spot over there. And actually, believe it or not, this is the area where I used to stop frequently. Used to park my kayak right up here, sit up on this bank. Have some of my videos, you could see this angle. Have to be careful where I step. Everywhere I go, there's fire ants, and I don't want to be bit while hiking by the fire ants. And another thing I don't want to do is fall overboard, because I'd be losing about $1,000+ worth of recording equipment, because none of it is waterproof. Which is why I have to be extra careful here. Okay? Okay. As you might have guessed, this is not a designated hiking trail. This is more like a trail that was hiked and is not managed by the park government system and trail system, but doesn't stop curious people like myself from coming out here and walking it, which is a really beautiful walk. Don't forget to drink. I've been sweating like crazy. Talking, having all this fun. You know, it will be such a cool experience to, right about now, for the first time in my life, to find something extremely valuable, like a diamond ring, maybe, I don't know, a bag full of cash or something. But no, I'm just not that lucky, am I? If you look off where the water is right now, right, when you first take off from the boat ramp, this is what it looks like. It gives the wrong impression that, oh, I could do this, no big deal. And then you turn the corner and it turns into a wild ride all the way down for 6 miles. If you get caught in the wrong kind of water conditions, it turns hairy. Look at that. To be somewhat careful here on the slope. The soil is very, very soft and very loose. There's not a lot of confidence in it. So my advice is to proceed with extreme caution. If you have to. Little steps. Look at that. Here we got a combination of sawgrass and palmetto palm. Okay. Thankfully, it's becoming just a smidgen easier to hike. The only downside is can't take your eyes off the trail because it's very easy to lose it. There's no sort of, oh, look at the pretty flowers over there. Wow. I see them quite a bit when kayaking. I don't know what those are. The white ones? I'm guessing it's some sort of lily thing. Like a type of morning glory or something. Okay. Picking up a little bit of speed, giving us opportunity to make up for the time lost, crawling through all of that stuff. Wow. What a cool experience. Look at that. You know, the sad thing about places like this is it's so inviting to just, you know, go for a dip, right? Go for a swim. Don't be fooled. There's 10-foot alligators right there. And I know that for a fact because I kayaked there extensively. And those alligators here, they're not like what you see in the pond in a subdivision. They're legit, hardcore, honest to goodness, wild alligators that see you as prey item. And don't let anybody else tell you that. Simply because they're in the wild and the food doesn't come by all that often. What tends to happen is, like, for example, if a hog comes down to drink or a deer, that's their only opportunity. And how often do they get that? Okay, don't get lost. Don't get lost. Did the trail go there or there? See how easy it is? You take your eyes off the trail for a second. Okay. Go down, go up, go down, go up. Here's another weird plant, those bulbousy things. I don't know what that is, but I am not going to touch it just in case. Because anything here? Knock knock. I don't want to wake up a bear or anything. All right. Here we're a little bit closer to the flowers. See them? Right here. Okay. Here, the trail somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? Disappears. There's a thorny thing over here, right in the path of the trail. Should I go around this way or that way? What do you think? Oh man. As much as I like it out here, I have to mention that walking and trailblazing, when you're not prepared for it, doesn't quite appeal to me. You take one wrong turn, you end up in a completely different place. There we go. Back to the trail again. Okie dokie. Yeah. Come to the hike, they said. It would be extremely fun, they said. Look at that. Oh, the sun is out. temporarily at least. Oh, everything is so pretty with the sun out. Okay, so in case you're wondering what this is over there, this is, let me take a drink. This is a summer camp on the other side. From some sort of church, like a Cedar Creek, something. Okay, not here. Oh, that's just wonderful. Alright, let's look at the map. Okay, let's look at the... As you might have guessed, I'm stopping for a very good reason, because alright. How the hell do I even get there? See, if it really turns to... just take a leap of faith, I suppose. Okay. I think I see some. There we go. Interesting. I have no idea what this is, but maybe that's where lifeguards sit, or used to sit about 60 years ago, because I don't think anybody ever swims here. There's an alligator hole over there. That's how they weather out the winter when it gets colder. They dig themselves a hole and just kind of sit there until better times. That allows them to better thermoregulate, if you want to call it that. And wintertime, you shine flashlights in there, you'll see their snouts and their eyes shining back at you. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Where did you start the trail at?
Turkey Creek Road south,
Okay.
and then you kind of follow the trail.
Pretty place.
Uh-huh. Ew. All right. As you see, the trail resume itself. Sort of. Kind of. Man, this is a... All right. You know, some could say that this is fun to do, and maybe it is fun to do to some extent, but I do have to caution you about one particular aspect of this adventure. What makes it less fun is the fact that it's hot as hell, for one. There's also snakes and alligators, like literally here. And there's also supposed to be a nasty, vicious thunderstorm coming up. Okay, that's not gonna work. And I have two bad news. Damn it. Oh. Okay. There's a presumption of the trail, or lack of thereof. Now that I think about it, it was probably easier to just walk on the bottom. Oh, here's another danger. Falling through the soil. Man, seriously, this is getting old. On the count of 7. 7. Now, obviously, in defense of the trail, it's not the nature's fault that there is no trail out here, obviously. But doesn't make my life any easier, does it? And that's kind of the thing. When you don't know where you're going, there was like no trail there at all. None. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to assume that the trail parallels the river, as people have been talking about on the forums. Which is why I don't want to be walking away further than I have to. And if I play my cards right, I'll find the trail again. Alright. Interesting. Look at that. Hello. Dang, look at that. Completely hollowed out. So here we're coming up on more shoals. You could see the river doing all sorts of squirrely stuff, especially around the bend. If we're lucky enough, I'll show you guys a really, really big cypress. I don't know if we'll get close to it or not. Freaking A, man. Seriously. Can't I have a decent trail for a chance? Please. All this gymnastics. Look, the irony is on the other side of the river there's a trail. What the hell? Maybe people just got fed up trying to do this. Swim to the other side and blaze the trail over there. Okay, seriously, this is ridiculous. I wonder if I could just skip all of this somehow. And like I said, my problem in this respect is the fact that I'm carrying a camera right behind me, which prevents me from being able to like crawl through places like this. So I'm trying to there we go. Move it along. I go there, what is it going to give me? As you might expect, it's easier to walk over there, right? But if I start doing that, I'm not going to be able to see the river. By the way, in case you're wondering if I'm breaking all this foliage, tree doesn't care. They drop their leaves all the time. So for them, this is just another day in the park. See this? They drop them anyways. All right. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay. And like I said, this would be far easier if I didn't have to also film at the same time, because I'd be able to crawl through places without even thinking about it. All right. Thankfully, we're getting a semblance of a hiking trail. So I would say on the scale of difficulty, this is probably like, I'm talking about to an average healthy human being. This is probably like 2 out of 5 or so. It's just burdensome to do all of the gymnastics. But hey, there's that kayaking people. Canoeing. Alright. On the count of 3. Oh, there we go. Which way, which way, which way? As you might imagine, don't really want to fall in the water either. Certainly not from this height. All right. So we got more holes to look through the water. You know, if the camera is picking this up, but you can see the limestone. At low water, this whole thing, you practically have to carry your kayak on top of you. And right around the corner, there's a house that I always wanted to buy. We'll see it, I'll show you. Careful. Damn it. How am I going to get there? Ay. Okay. Where's the trail? Where's the trail? Where's the trail? Come on. Ow! Ow, ow, ow. Damn it. Yeah. All right. How do I... Is it straight? Is it left? Is it right? If I go there, or if I go there, well, let's try this way. Ow, 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 ow. Come on, let go of my pants. Maybe not. Okay, maybe this way. But then how the hell am I gonna... How the hell... Okay. Ow. Huh. What the hell am I doing here? There was a trail over here. Oh, come on. Oh, for crying out loud. Where is the trail? Ow! Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously, come on. Get me a trail. as you might have guessed, the plot in the jungle thickens, as they say. Sometimes the easiest way is to just walk around. Look at that. Problem is, I have no idea where to walk around to. Which is why we're gonna do the trusty thing. And so the good news is I'm about probably 2/3 of the way until I'm supposed to meet the trail. The bad news is it's very rapidly becoming somewhat impassable, and as much as I want to stick to the river, see, that's the problem. You go to the right, and it takes you way off. You go to the left, and it's alright. Let's go to the right. Unfortunate, but it's what it is, I suppose. The trick here, though, is to figure out a way how to keep holding left. Oh, look at this. Other people had the same idea. There are tracks of people here. Probably same exact people that were blazing that trail. Now, as jungly as this is, right, we need to keep in mind the obvious elephant in the room. This out here is wildlife. It's not your backyard. Which is why you have to be extra vigilant for anything that moves. Oh wow. Don't even hear a river anymore. Which river is like on the other side of this bush? Okay? Let's get back for a second. Man, well, there's the trail for you. Probably by the people that also gave up. Disappointing, because I was hoping to do entire stretch. have to watch for, in case you're wondering why I'm stopping, watching for the clearing in the woods off in the distance, because that's how I know where the river is, so that as I'm doing this little detour, at the very least I'm doing it in the right direction. Because what I don't want to do right now is find myself walking away from what I'm ultimately here to look at. So this over here is one of the previous channels for Alafaya. The local pronunciation for it is actually Alafaya. I've heard some people mispronounce it as Alafia, but technically it's Alafaya. Look at this. I bet you weren't expecting that today, huh? Well, guess what? Neither was I. Neither was I. But yet, here we are, exploring it together for the first time. Probably, as the saying goes, where no man has gone before. Oh, there's the river. All right. Let's see, we just have to take a little detour. Problem is, we're back to square one with a stupid jungle. Being a stupid jungle. See, technically speaking, there is a trail. There's just not much of a trail, as one might expect. Not in the technical sense of the word. So yes, if you notice, and that's the reason why you have to pay attention to where you're going. Just, even if you have to take a detour occasionally, be mindful of where you're detouring to and how to get back in the same kind of direction. You know what I'm saying? we're back to this again. For crying out loud, seriously. You know, the funny thing is, on the other side of the river, where a trail isn't, there's nothing like this. Look at that. Over there. Right? This jungle doesn't exist. So, allow me to explain why this is happening. During the reclamation phase of Alderman Ford, where the government said, oh hey, you know, we're turning this into a park, they planted a whole bunch of palmetto, right? And palmetto, like I previously mentioned, is the kind of thing that moves and keeps seeding itself and drops more seeds and keeps seeding itself and drops more seeds, and eventually what ended up happening is it walked all the way to the river's bank, and for obvious reasons it can't grow on the water, and when it drops its seeds, the seeds float away. On the other side, that's the, what was it? I broke my hiking pole. On the other side, you have wild Florida, and despite the fact that there was also reclamation done, it just hasn't migrated far enough yet. And as you might expect, it would be far easier to trek on the other side than it is on this side. Oh, come on. Yeah, there we go. Oh, more people in boats. Now, if you hear off in the background, there's a group of kayakers. They're exactly the reason why I always kayak alone. Because they scare off everything. They kayak and they don't get to see anything at all. No wildlife. Because wildlife wants nothing to do with all that noise and commotion. If there was any wildlife, they would have disappeared because of them screaming. You know, the birds, the bees, the alligators, little critters. Which is why when people kayak places like this, they're like, oh, I didn't see anything cool. Well, this is the reason why. Look at that, okay? Little waterfall over there. Pretty. I actually remember this place. I paddled out here on my kayak during the flood. Over there, between all of this. You know, that's how you scare off all the wildlife. That's why you don't see anything. What is a barbed wire here? Damn it. Hey. Pretty good. How about yourself? You know, it's kind of disappointing. Here we are at this rather unfortunate predicament. There's barbed wire here, meaning that I can walk around, but I also have to get through. Somehow. And there's a sheer cliff over there. With absolutely nothing to grab onto. And there's a pipe or something. Okay, so all right. Obviously, we're figuring this out as we go. Come on, I'm really close to the designated trail, which is somewhere on the other side of this barbed wire, like right there. Problem is, how do I get there? I could see how people have played sneaky over here. They use this clearing in the barbed wire to actually get through. Which I totally understand why. Should go without saying that being caught on barbed wire in the middle of the woods probably isn't the best case scenario. And this barbed wire isn't here because Park has put this here. It is here because it was put here by the cattle grazers way back in the day. And then the land was sold or donated, I think it was like 80s or something. Okay, wonder how far it goes, because if at some point it ends, I'd rather just walk around it. No, there's still fencing over there. Careful. And it keeps going. That's unfortunate. The trail is like literally on the other side of those trees. The official designated trail, not the crazy weird one that I was doing. Well, alright guys, we're gonna have to do some fin angling over here. Poles over there. I'm gonna set the camera. over here somewhere. Like there is. Should go without saying, guys. You do not want to be doing this if this was private property. But because I know for a fact that this is not private property, I'm able to do what I did. Under no circumstances should you cross into somebody else's property without their permission. Well, I cut myself a little bit on the barbed wire. Bit of a battle scar, if you want to call it that. And the trick now, I mean, technically I could catch the trail over there, but if I'm lucky, I might be able to sort of, oh wow, look at this. Look at this beautiful cypress tree. What a gorgeous specimen. Look at that. Wow. Such a privilege. It's been here for so long. Look at it. All the little brothers that it's growing and sisters all around it. Wow. Look at that. What a beautiful tree. To get you an idea of what the soil feels like, it is very soft, very mushy and everything. Oh, look at this. Guys, if you look at my Highlands hammock hiking videos, they have this exact thing covered in all sorts of moss and little frogs and everything. So this is what it looks like when the water recedes. Look at this. How cool is that? Huh? How cool is that? The river is on the other side, in case you're wondering. Wow, so pretty. What a wonderful hike. You know, it's like if you don't have to cross through all that jungle, the rest of the trail is actually gorgeous. Because seeing stuff like this, I mean, this is just true delight. But the jungly part's not so much. Oh, careful there. Just be careful where you step, because land over here, like you make one wrong step and you fall through easily 1.5 to to 2 feet of gap of where water was eroding over time. So right now, effectively, we're walking in the channel the flood channel. And it's so mushy like this because there's hogs that like to root this land. See how it's all dug up and everything? Hogs come out. You can see their hoof marks and everything. And just go to town collecting grubs and other things. That. Should I go there? Or should I go there? What do you think? Oh wow, look at this pretty moss. Look at that. Cool. Out here in the woods, it's something else, quite something else. This gives a new meaning to the word tranquility. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff if the water didn't recede. So this is a special treat. Normally, all of this is flooded. And normally, you're not going to be able to see any of this, even if you wanted to. Because it turns into a raging torrent that goes through the woods and doesn't stop. Alright, so no idea where I am. It's rather annoying, to be honest with you. Let's try Google Maps. So this over here, in case you're wondering, is an oxbow lake. You could see a notable absence of current. And my particular hesitation of, because thing is, I can't go straight, obviously, because there's a river. So I have to go around. And if I have to go around, it's going to be on this side of the fence, which makes it pretty much pointless for me to climb through the barbed wire all over again. Oh, look at this. This is like a little kindergarten. Look at that. This is, I gotta say, oh look, a cedar. Or, wait a minute, cedar? Yeah, cedar, because that's cypress, water cypress. This is water cedar. Not like the hardwood cedar, but the other kind, the woodland. So this over here is everything new to me. I mean, I see it off the kayak, but it's always flooded. So I've never actually, despite the fact that I've lived here so long, I've never actually seen it. It's kind of soft. Not like entirely soft, but soft enough for you to kick. Oh man. Okay. So what we're doing now is we're slowly migrating out to the official trail. I'm guessing, because that's where it would be. Wish there'd be barbed wire. With my luck. You see, aren't you glad you came along? Because had we gone on the actual official trail, it would have been just... Here, I'll show you. If I got my camera untangled. Come on. There you go. This is the official hiking trail. Which would you rather have? This? Or the coolness that we just seen? What do you think? Camera recording. Yeah. Alright. So following the official designated trail should be, let's see if we're picked up by the, yeah, there we go. We're gonna parallel, so essentially what we're doing is we bypass the Oxbow Lake and we're gonna go into this little forest paralleling where Oxbow Lake merges the main channel, and then we're gonna do a loop-to-loop and then out on this path over there. Look at this. See, this is what I was expecting to hike today. Nice and easy. But it became so much more cooler. That's for sure. Minus the mosquitoes. The camera is picking them up. There's about 17 million around my head. That's kind of the problem during the wet season. All the mosquitoes come out, and no matter what you do, you could spray them all you want, you could use all the bug spray against them, nothing works. You're gonna hear anecdotal evidence for like Thermacell and all these bug spray. What you're really doing is you're not killing them. You're just politely asking them to go elsewhere to bite somebody else. That's what you're doing. Oh, look how big this hook is. Oh great, now I got horseflies on top of the mosquitoes. Isn't that wonderful? Look at that, within the scope of one hike, once again we get to see all kinds of cool stuff. Like this over here, this is sage. You get to see the wetland species of stuff, you get to see upland species of stuff, you get to see pretty wild flowers. The river is like right there. Look at that. We're back to the main aliphi. Look at that. There's shoals and stuff. Looky, looky, looky. I don't know if camera is picking this up, but underneath this water, there's limestone. Lots and lots of limestone. During dry season, all of this is actually exposed. Look at that. By the way, in case you're coming out here on a kayak, you do not want to be stepping there because it is slippery. The current is swift and it's slippery. It's a bad combination. Well, the bright side is the wind is blowing, helping with the mosquito situation. The downside to that is that that wind is carrying a thunderstorm, which is supposed to start at 1 o'clock, and it's 11:27, and I am almost at the furthest point away from the trailhead. But that being said, Mr. Squirrel, that being said, the return trip would be easy. So hopefully we'll track it nice and quick. Some decorative artwork over there, painting trees and stuff. There's a bunch of kayakers over there. That is actually private property over there. Ooh, mosquitoes. Oh, wonderful. Now I have mosquitoes, gnats, and horseflies. I'm like, there's just no mercy, isn't there? Oh man, on the other side of those trees over there was a home that I wanted to show you guys. but it's not gonna happen, I guess. Or maybe it still could, never know. Maybe if the trail will get us closer back, hopefully. Oh, there it is. If I could, how do I? Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Hopefully that's the house that I was talking about. Yes. So, this house across, right there. What would I give to be able to buy that house? There's a little history to that house. It belonged to a family of somebody obviously rich enough to own a house like that. And then that person passed away. And am I recording? I'm recording. And then there was some sort of a revocable trust thing going on. And nobody lived in the house. It just sat, right? And they tried to offload it on the market, like literally when 2008 collapse happened. And they initially listed it for like $500,000, and kept lowering it, got it down to something like $380,000. Okay, and it just sat there, and then they took it off the market, then they put it back up on the market, then they took it off the market, we're talking about like years. So now it's 2020, the current year, and I see that somebody lives in there. I don't know if somebody bought it or if the family just gave up trying to sell it, but that house is nice. Like, nice with a capital N, nice. It is wonderful. Has a very rustic feel to it. Everything is kind of in that same style of the log house, mixed with a bit of luxury. And one of the coolest things over there, it has a bathtub overlooking the river. So you sit in it, and there's literally like the window the size of entire wall where you could just relax in the bathtub. What the hell is this? And but alas, I'm not a rich bastard. I'm just a peon, getting through life just like everybody else. But that would have been a nice house to own. I would say, if I had to guess, within 20-mile radius, with exception of this one other house, this is the nicest house, period. Even among all the other ones on the river, that's like the knees of the beach nice. Now here, there's I don't know if I'll be able to film it. The shoals and the river turn over here somewhere. Up. Yeah, I kept keeping up. Keep catching you guys. Everywhere.
Yeah, we're going slow.
Alright. It's the same. That's what people need to do. Get their kids away from Instagram and all this other stuff and actually get them out on a kayak. Let them see the world. So the trail goes there, but the reason why we're walking here is because I'm hoping we're going to be able to see the remnants of the bridge, which should be right around the corner here somewhere. This used to be a train trestle of sorts. Oh, would you look at that? It says posted, no trespassing. Interesting. Who does it belong to? Oh, Tampa Electric Company. Oh, that's nice of them to take what would have been a nice place to show you the trestle. Yes. So you can't see it from here, but like literally overgrown in this bush, there's a trestle for the train. Alright, let's go back. Yes, respect the law, as they say. Oh, all those cypresses that I was talking about right there. Right in the middle of the lake. River. Right between the shoals, between the is there a way to get there? Probably is. Let's see. I'm either before or after the shoals. But yeah, I think they're there that way. But yes, there's a whole bunch of really big cypresses right in the middle of the river. Have to navigate the shoals and the trees at the same time. If you watch my Alifire videos, kayaking, in the playlist, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. So we are officially at the furthest point of our adventure. The trip back should be nice and easy, although in the sun, I'm guessing, unless the clouds come in. It's windy, thankfully. It's blowing wind from the direction in which I'm going, giving me a little bit of a reprieve before the thunderstorm gets here. And I need to get back for two reasons. The first one, most obvious one, I don't want to get wet. But second one my cat is out frolicking, and I don't like him being out in the thunderstorm outside. Typically finds himself a safe spot, but still. So I have to get back before the thunderstorm hits my house. Hopefully. That being said, it's kind of important to point out that at this point, a hiker might be compelled to increase their pace or something else along those lines. I would have to say categorically, absolutely not. This is exactly the point where you start making mistakes. It's very easy to get caught up in the moment and lose balance, fall, twist your ankle, lose something along the way, right? Most injuries that occur while hiking occur on the way back. So you have to be very careful about that sort of stuff. Keep your pace, same pace, which is your normal comfortable pace, and don't do anything out of the ordinary. Right before the thunderstorm, nature goes into a bit of a, whatchamacallit, weird mode, if you want to call it that, where all the humidity gets sucked out of the air, and you could just feel it. You could feel the heat just resonating from the soil, you could feel the moisture just sucking up in the air. Could feel that, as you see, I'm not sweating anymore, which is really bad. It's sucking every ounce of moisture. It's sucking it into the system so that it could then unleash in the typical Florida downpour. But the point that I'm trying to make is, and I've been talking about it in previous videos as well, the necessity of hydration. You want to have ample amount of water supply, not just to drink, but to be hydrated, so that you're comfortable hiking and all this stuff. There's another house over there. For the expensive house that I was talking about, the reason why they never dropped the price on it is because they know well, one, they're cheap bastards, but I don't blame them. But two, they're being surrounded by subdivisions on all sides. And it's coming to the point where that house, if they sit on it long enough, is going to turn itself from house courtesy of a deceased relative to house courtesy of a deceased relative that sat on the market forever, didn't sell, and now is valued at millions. And the rich people that live on the other side in the subdivisions, that will gladly pay, believe it or not. It's kind of funny because if you look back through history of when, more shoals over there, of when, we've already seen that. If you look back through history of when this first became a human settlement of sorts, right, like back to 1700, 1800, it was just somebody's little tiny house that somebody plopped on top of a place that got passed on through generations and got built into a mansion. And next thing you know, the area which somebody plopped a tiny little house on became so valuable. Which is kind of funny, if somebody rerouted the river, that same exact $380,000 house would now be worth about 25. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news. There's been, I don't remember where, but there's been like 2 lake dams that somewhere out in the Midwest-ish that emptied out because the dams failed. And every single lakefront property house, of which there were a ton, suddenly became a house standing next to stenchy, muddy, mucky moonscape because all of the water drained, and that's it. Their property value went from millions to zero, just like that. Oh, horseflies are biting. Oh my goodness. The trail actually goes there in here, but there's more pasture land. Here you got at least forest on one side. But alright, so back to the parking lot conversation that we've had. The ADA compliant thing. Do you think somebody with a wheelchair would be able to go through all of this? Tall grass, the roots up and down, little hills, ravines. And this up here is a well-groomed trail. I'm about to show you what they would have to navigate if they had to actually physically come out here with a wheelchair. This is the official hiking trail. Right here. How far do you think you could push somebody in a wheelchair? And this isn't an even ground. It's covered in divots and clivots and holes and up and down the hill, ruts. If I had to guess, temperature is probably like 92, maybe. Let's see what the temperature is like. There's 88. Feels like 99. Humidity is 68%. Chance of rain 20%. With the exception of this nasty thunderstorm that's coming, which turns it into 100%. Yes, those of you that are far less adventurous than I was, going through all the trees, following the river and stuff, this up here is effectively the trail, and the other side of it is on the other side of that field, looking exactly like that. So if you're far less adventurous, you're taking this, you like to walk through the trees quite literally, you're welcome to do what I did. Oh, by the way, we're walking uphill all this time. It's probably 15-foot elevation difference so far, but just uphill, 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 uphill. I think this is the crest over here because it goes down the hill after that. See this? If you don't pay attention, there's ruts and no, this is absolutely, most definitely not ADA compliant hiking trail, if there's even such a thing. It's not a paved road in a national park, that's for sure. problem is what's behind it isn't so nice. Yep, I have to agree that the river loop is far more scenic than this. Now maybe if there were like hordes of deer prancing about, it would be a little bit more appealing, but this, I don't know. All of this over here is coconut grass. As you see, covers everything. In fact, it's so effective that it's displacing palmetto, which in itself is a prolific plant. Okay, where do you go? Left, right, left, right. What do you think? Check the map. Right. Getting close. See civilization there. I think there's somebody else out here. See another car. Okie dokie. So, I don't know if camera will pick this up or not, but this is what we were supposed to do, right? And once we got to the water, discovered a trail that goes, and then we merged about here-ish, and then did this, and then back. Well guys, I appreciate you tagging along on this adventure. It's been somewhat unexpected because I wasn't expecting to do the water trail, but we did. So it was somewhat adventurous there. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in.